Oh, no, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, good.
Okay, are we recording? Let's see. I don't know how to do this, so this is gonna be the first time. Okay, it says we're
Well,
recording.
this is our practice, so let's go for it.
All right, here we are with Lisa, your host and co-host, Elise Orr. How you doing, Elise?
I'm good, girl. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Good to see
I'm
you.
so excited to be here.
What are we gonna
You
talk
know, it's
about
my
today?
favorite conversation. My favorite conversation.
Bigfoot. That's
That's
mine
right.
too.
That's
Cryptids.
right.
So
Cryptids.
we're starting this Cryptids Unlimited podcast thing, and we don't know what we're doing, so we're here to say what we're gonna be doing, and of course, it's gonna be Bigfoot, 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 because that's how we are. But
And we're here for the journey and just want to see, talk about things that maybe people don't want to talk about in public or something like that. And we want to let them know that that's okay to talk about it. We want to make it okay where you can talk about it. And I know that's what you really have on your mind, Lisa, with this whole thing.
yeah, that and awareness. I want people to know what's out there before they go out there. It's like it's some kind of taboo to talk about Bigfoot, but then people go out in the woods and they encounter them, and they're like, "What the heck was that?" Because nobody's ever told them about them. So I
I
think
agree. And they don't want to.
yeah,
I agree with you 100%. I think that, we know that there's bears out in the woods and cats that can hurt you and rabid animals and wild hogs. But we know that. We make a decision to go there because we know they're out there. But when you go out there and you encounter something that's totally not even supposed to exist, and you encounter that, that's not cool. We want people to be able to know what they may encounter. And if they do encounter it, give them a place to go and share.
yes, absolutely, and talk about it because it changes your life. My dog's decided to bark. Hang on.
People say, I have not encountered, you know,
Well, I know first time I encountered something, it changed my life, and it was that way for a long time because there was nobody to talk to about it. It haunted me for years.
and, and it's terrible that you, at such a young age, encountered so much and had nowhere and no one to discuss it with. Couldn't tell your friends about it unless you wanted to be. You were already kind of the cuckoo one anyway because you saw Bigfoot and a few people knew about it, when you were younger. So, yeah, that's a terrible thing for a child to have to go through.
Absolutely, absolutely. And even grown people, I've talked to many who said, "Yeah, it changed my life. I didn't know who to tell, who I could tell. Nobody was going to believe me." You hear that
Right.
so much, and I
Well,
just,
they
yeah,
have people actually, yeah, people actually suffer PTSD from it, you know,
oh
and that's a
yeah,
terrible thing. Like I said, and most of us, we all, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I believe, and I think you believe, that the government, they know about this. They know.
oh they,
So let us just make our own decisions when we go into the woods. Just let people know that they are out there and they do exist.
yeah, yeah, awareness because you're not going to prove the existence of them. The government's not going to let you. And if you go
No,
about
no,
saying, just let them be, just let them do what they do, then you're not really doing anybody any favors because then you're allowing them to be out there and people go camping and people get hurt or, even killed sometimes. So,
right,
not saying something is just as
exactly.
bad. Yeah. So you have to. Awareness is the key. You just got to make people aware of what's going
I
on.
think awareness is the key. I agree
Yeah.
with you wholeheartedly. I think awareness is definitely the key. And, I don't know why the government, I mean, you hear a million reasons why people think the government won't let in on this big secret. And I don't really know the answer to that. I buy into some of it, and some of it I don't buy into. I think it's just to be sit with exactly what is Bigfoot.
Yeah. I
I
think
guess that would answer a lot of our questions
yeah, whatever it is, the
if we
government
just knew exactly what it was.
right, but they know what it is and they know
They know.
enough to not tell us for their own reasons, which, it's probably not the
Yeah,
reasons
because they exactly. I agree. Yeah, just like they know the whole UFO. Well, it's not UFO anymore. It's UPI now. Is
UA,
that what it is?
UAP.
UAP. You know, I always get my alphabets, all my alphabets mixed up because there's so many that I would like to forget. CIA, FBI, IRS. But anyway, this new phenomenal that they've got going around now. I think it's really interesting that now, all of a sudden, during COVID, they dropped the bomb on us that they really do exist. But no one asked any questions that you think they would be asking, like, what are they? And where are they from? And what do they want? Nobody bothered to ask those questions. Well, now we have the congressional hearings going on, and we have this
Good.
whistleblower up there saying, all the things that he's telling us. And I just have to wonder, why are they letting him tell us now? Why did he decide to become a whistleblower at this point? I question everything the government does and believe very little that they tell me.
Oh, I don't believe anything they say anymore. Nothing.
I know,
I think
and
that
I
they
think
have
this
their
will follow the same steps.
they have that UFO theory going around that they're going to use that to usher in the new world order.
I believe that.
I do too. I
I,
think
I
they'll use.
really do. I don't know. Let me just rephrase that. I don't know if I really believe that, Lisa, but I think it's a very, very good possibility. I can see them doing that, and I can see that absolutely sealing the deal for us because I can see the fear that would create worldwide, kind of like COVID did. You know, kind of practicing maybe to see how we would react. I don't know. Just throwing that out there, but
Yeah,
yeah, I think they'll do eventually the whole Bigfoot thing, kind of like they're doing with UFOs or UPIs or whatever they call themselves today.
I think we'll know before long. But there are too many new reports. More people are seeing them than they used to. You've got thousands of reports now every week coming in, and
And
there weren't that.
everybody's got a camera.
Everybody's got a camera, and population's larger, and you have the social media where you can get out the information faster than you used to could. So there's a number of things but I think that they're becoming more. Uh, there are more of them than there used to be.
Is that what you think? You think there's more of them? I hope so.
I do. I think there are more of them, and that's why they're
I,
being seen more often. There's less places for them to hide. The more we take away their territory, the more we encroach on them, the more sightings we're going to see because they don't have anywhere to hide.
I agree with you there. I really do. I do believe that we're encroaching on them. You hear about more and more encounters, places that I wouldn't think a Sasquatch would be digging for food, in city limits and such as that. You're seeing more and more of these encounters. Tells me, we are encroaching on them. We are encroaching on their neighborhoods and their territory. So I'm not surprised that they're coming out. And you know what happens also when that starts happening? It's kind of like the bears do up in Yellowstone. People start feeding them, and then they get brave.
And then they stop feeding them and they get aggressive.
Exactly. So this is just, we could talk about this subject from now until forever, and we wouldn't solve anything, but I sure do like talking about it because we all have our ideas, and even though they're vast and many, I may think one way today, and tomorrow get up and read something or research something, and I'll come back feeling a whole different way about it. I have changed my mind a million times since I
I
began this journey.
I have too. Once a week, I change my mind at least. But let's
And
talk
I
about.
know, Lisa, you've been on this journey for a very long time.
Oh yeah, for 20 something years. Well, if you go back to when I was my first sighting, it's been 40 something years, but the actual
Right. Yeah.
investigating has been like 21 years. So, but
Right.
it, and in the beginning, it was one thing, and now you might as well flip it upside down because it's totally different from when I started.
I agree. Even though I have not been on this journey as long as you have, I probably started believing in this phenomenon when I The Legend of Barley Creek came out, like so many of us. I saw that movie and I was hooked right then and there. There was no doubt in my mind, even at that young, tender age, that I just there was no doubt that there was one, and that really kind of started my journey in the libraries, like most kids go, because we didn't have computers back in the 1900s. We didn't have computers back then, so we had to go to the library and depend on what they had in the library for us.
Stop giving away our age, Lise.
I'm trying. I'm just those. No, let me put it this way: the late 1900s. That's better. But yeah, so and then during COVID, I think I got, like most of us, stayed home and you got more on that computer and you found out a lot more stuff. So my journey's probably only been about 5 or 6 years old. You know, I'm a newbie to this thing, really and truly.
But that's long enough to for you to have investigated enough to know enough so far. So
I know,
let's talk
I
about our
truly know that they exist.
oh yeah, let's talk about our group, the Bigfoot and
Let's
female.
talk about them.
Yes, let's
The
talk about
BFFs.
the BFFs. They are actually we are all BFFs, and our founder Barbara Maddie, she's a smart lady. She kept it all women because she says, "Hey, ladies have an advantage over men," and I
And I
think she,
believe that.
I do too.
I think we've proven that time and time again.
I think we have because every time we go out, we get something.
It's a rare thing for us to go out and not get anything.
I know,
It's a rare thing for us to go out and not get at least one whistle or one tree knot or something like that, and
footprints, anything. Yeah,
footprint, it's just a rare thing for us to go out. Now I do believe we all believe, I think we're all of one mind with that because we are women, we're less intimidating, and some of us have really pleasant little voices, I think, that might be nice too.
yeah.
And and we sing, and we just do our thing. Last night, if nothing's happened while we've been there the whole time, we just start slinging mud and seeing what'll stick. Where we start singing and banging on trees and whooping and hollering. We just do all kinds of stuff, try and get some attention. That last night, if we haven't had any, but for most of the time, we have a little bit of attention.
Yeah, we've had some attention we didn't welcome, like in East Texas when we got charged by that thing. That was a little more than we were wanting at the time.
I'm gonna tell you something. That was probably the most exhilarating is on record, intense moments of my entire life. And I'm, I'm in them young shitsties now. But yeah, I've never experienced anything like that before in my life, and I wouldn't mind experiencing it again. Do you want to tell all our listeners out there what we saw and what we experienced that night?
Yeah, let me give them a little history
Please do.
so that they'll know what we're talking about. When we were in East Texas, there were five of us that got on a side by side with the landowner and went back into the back 40 around midnight. And unknowing to us, the driver, owner of the land, Britta, she parked us going backwards at a dead end. Well, we were facing the dead end instead of turning around to get out because we didn't know it was a dead end. She had us sitting there helpless, and she spotted something on the thermal imaging. And one of us, I don't even remember who it was, asked, "Well, how big is it?" She says, "It's effing huge." And at that
Yep.
moment, she said it fell down on all fours and started running towards us, which is on the thermal imaging. We can see that, but at the time we could see nothing. We heard it coming through the forest where the tree line and the fence was, but that's all we heard. There was no sound like, "Hey, there's a hog coming." They make that sound, that grunty noise, or anything else that normally attacks. You make some kind of sound, and this made no sound other than the sound coming through the forest. And
Yes, and it was a very quiet sound at that. It wasn't like you would expect what we
right,
saw on the thermal imaging to sound like.
right. We thought it should have made more noise than it did, but
Yes.
um, of course we were parked the wrong way, and so Britta floorboards it backwards to get us turned around, and she's driving in the dark to she drives us back out of there anyways, and everybody's hanging on for their life because she was a little scared.
And
And
she was, and thank shout out to Britta and thank you, Britta, because I'm gonna tell you what, you did some race car maneuvering that night, girlfriend.
she did the way she got through those trees. Oh my gosh.
Was some race. I think Britta may be a race car driver in another life or something.
An obstacle course driver. She did well.
She did good. She did really good. And then it wasn't over though from that experience.
Nope, it wasn't over. About 30 minutes after we got back, we're all sitting out on the, she had a guest house. We're all sitting out on the deck of the guest house and talking about what we just experienced. Adrenaline's still flowing. And out of nowhere, well, we know where it was. It was just across probably 50 yards from us, over where some of us had our tents. You and I had our tent over there.
Yeah, we did. It was in the wood line.
Uh-huh. You and I and
Yeah,
Heather, and it made a noise, a scream, a bellow, whatever you want to call it, that was so loud, so long, lasted for at least 30 seconds. It started out sounding kind of like a tornado horn, and then it started changing in tones from there. And
yes,
the strangest thing
yes.
we've ever heard, and the longest sound coming from anything that I've ever heard. It was
I've never heard. I've
uh-huh.
never heard anything like that since then, and or before then. And I will tell you, Lisa. I think I believe and I know that they exist. I have not encountered yet, but I am as big a believer as you're ever going to find. I just know it in my heart that they were real. And that night proved it to me. That's all I needed right there. Because once we got back, I can kind of be a little, I'm a kind of the debunker, I guess, or a little skeptical sometimes. And I want to make sure, we're very serious about this stuff we do. So I want to make sure, and we want to be taken serious, but I want to make sure that what was that I heard? What could that have been? Even though I knew in my heart nothing else could possibly sound like that. But I went back home and I listened to everything, every noise, every animal on this continent makes. And I'm gonna tell you something. The only thing that I came up with was not really an animal. It was off of a movie. It was not an. It was a T-Rex, is what it was. I mean, the velocity that this thing hollered at us with, the velocity alone, the amount of lung it had behind that, I can't imagine how big it must have been, and just the sheer volume of it. Well, they say it can shake. It can shake you. But we were in the like a L shape of this house. So we were on the porch on the patio on the L shape kind of. So we were kind of blocked from the sound hitting us. But Christine, one of our other BFFers, she was barefoot and she had her feet on the floor, and she said that it vibrated the floor. She could feel it vibrating the floor.
I don't doubt
So
that.
that was the most. There was no doubt in our mind. And then you go ahead and finish, because that's not the end of it, is it?
No, and we're about to go to
It-
Alabama, and hopefully we're going to
well,
go back.
remember, but before that, we also heard that thing a second time that night. Remember,
Yeah,
after
there
we heard it the first time, and it screamed at us, and everybody got up and moved inside.
and
Some of
those
us
of us,
lagged a little bit,
yeah,
and
some
then
of
you
us,
had that other one over on the other side of the house that hollered back at it.
yeah, hollered back at it.
So
It was
exciting! That's the most exciting thing.
it was almost like it was saying, "Chill out."
Yeah, it really was, because it wasn't near as intense as the first one. It
It
was
wasn't.
not that amount of intensity. And you're right. That's kind of how the impression I got from it too. You're right. It was kind of like, chill out, dude.
Yeah, but that first one sounded really aggressive, like we really made something mad.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. If there's any such thing as an aggressive Bigfoot, we heard it that night, and I'm pretty sure there is such a thing, and we heard it loud and clear, just the way he wanted us to. That's
Yeah,
how I felt. Like he wanted us to hear him.
yeah. It wanted to scare us. I could tell. It was
Yeah,
like,
I think so. I think it did. I really think he wanted to scare us too. I think he had enough of us bouncing around his woods.
so we're going to be going with Britta again to Alabama on her land there, where she's had some weird things going on, and hopefully we're going to be doing a live stream while we're there. That's gonna be
So stoked about this property, Lisa. I am so stoked about this property. It's we love properties what we like to call high strangeness. That's our favorite kind of properties. And yeah, one of the BFFers, one of our friends, Britta, has some properties they have in Alabama. How many acres is it, Lisa? Do you remember? It's hundreds.
it's I think it's more than the one she has now, and the one she has now is like 837 acres. So it's bigger than
Yeah,
that.
something like that. So it's a lot of property. But she was telling me, I spoke with her the other day, and we were talking about the Alabama trip. I call it Bama Bigfoot. We're talking about the Bama Bigfoot trip, and I was telling Britta how excited I was, and she said that they have a guy who works the property for them. I guess when they're not always there, as you know, and so they have a guy who works the property for them. And somebody was asking this guy, had he had any strange encounters or anything strange or something to that extent? And he told him, he goes, "What you mean those things over there in the wood line?" He goes, "I leave them alone, and they leave me alone." So
Well, I know she said she had that land up for sale before, and a man came wanting to buy it, and she let him go out there and look at the land. He went out there alone. He came back and he said, "I'm not buying it." And
yeah,
that was it.
that's right. That's
Something about
right. He had been after that property for a minute.
he had always wanted it, and when he finally got himself on it, he decided against it. He was like, I
Yeah.
don't think it's this kind of thing." So
So
makes you wonder.
that's where we're going.
It really makes you wonder what he saw or heard, or
I
really.
know. Yeah, I'm sure he did see some things that because Britta said he had been after this property for a minute. So they finally let him go, have the keys, I guess, and have a good look see, and that was the end of that. He didn't care for the property all of a sudden anymore.
Well,
So
I hope.
there's been lots of high strangeness on this property for. I think the property's been in their family for like 150 years, something like that, maybe longer.
Yeah.
There's always been high strangeness on it. And I just don't know what all we're going to encounter. I think we're probably going to encounter more than a Bigfoot, maybe some more cryptids and maybe
Hey,
some
long
paranormal stuff.
as long as it's not a skinwalker or a dog man, I can deal with it.
Don't say the words. Don't say the words. Shh. Yeah, we don't even. Yeah, we don't like either one of those. Now we say that we have
Or
no
they,
doubt that they exist.
yeah, I won't say those words when I'm out because I don't want to bring any of them around.
I
Yeah.
know none of us do. We never say those words when we're out. But I feel that we can say them. Okay, sitting in the comfort of our own homes. We'll see anyway.
If I encounter a skinwalker tonight, I will let you know.
You let me know and vice versa, girlfriend.
Absolutely.
Oh gosh.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about
Well,
while we're?
I just want to make sure that that people know that this is our first time. And Um, I think it's going to be a great podcast that Lisa is starting here. I'm just so proud of her. She's so brave to go out and do this. I'm going to tell you something. I've had make some great people, some great friends in this journey that I'm on, and I count Lisa right up there with one of the best of them. And I'll say one thing for her: when she says something, she goes for it. She makes it happen. One day she said, "I'm going to do a podcast." I'm like, "Really?" And the next thing I know, she's doing a podcast. And our creator, she's the same way. When she created our group, the BFFs, she just wanted something for women, and we're older, so most of us are grandparents. We can't go out on the weekends, but we like to go out during the week, and we feel like that serves us well too. And so Lord went for it, and here we are today. It's funny how it's all clicked in together. It's so serendipity.
I know everything just kind of fell in our lap.
Everything just falls in our lap. We're just so lucky like that.
I don't think it's luck. I think it's more. I think God's in our favor.
Well, thank God for that. We all need blessings, and like I was thinking a while ago about some of the things that's happened to us on this journey. Some of the things that have happened are just so crazy and far fetched. Like, how many trees have we had pushed down toward us? Like three
Two.
trees have been pushed down towards us.
I know of two. There may have been three, but I remember the last time we went out over
Okay,
there near your place, we had a tree pushed down,
right.
and then large limb broke off.
And that was in the middle of the day.
Yeah,
You guys were putting up the tents.
yeah, we
I
just
hadn't
got.
gotten there yet. And then as soon as y'all got there and started putting up the tents, down comes a tree crashing. You said you were afraid because you didn't know where it was going to land at.
It sounded like it was falling on me and Barbara.
That's what y'all said. So that tells me it must have been pretty close, but it does make a ruckus. And
It
then,
does.
so then, and then we had lots of luck that day. And then after that, it just kind of quieted down
It did. Now me and Heather
after
were
that.
we were listening to some howling noises, and I at one point picked up something on a thermal. Looked like it ducked behind a tree, but we went the next day and we looked, and if something ducked behind that tree, it would have been awfully big. So because
Right.
there's a drop off right there. So
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
it,
I like that drop off being there, though. I kept thinking that's a great place for them to come up and just peep over that drop off and look down at us.
and that's where the tree was, right there at it. So I don't know. I don't know if I saw it was just a it was a heat signature, so it couldn't
I
have been.
really did. I like that place. We'll have to get back out there when the temperatures cool off just a little bit. But we've had those trees thrown over at us. And then Clouds Crossing, remember? There was one or two that got crashed down at us
Oh, in
on Clouds
Goldana.
Crossing. Yeah, and
Yeah,
Godana.
yeah.
And
We're
that's
not
a
gonna
little hot spot, too.
we're not gonna tell anybody about that though. I'll edit that little part out.
Yes, yes, yes. Supposed to be mom's the word on that one.
I got a sound editor, so
Yeah, good. I'm so happy you do. I think that's going to be very beneficial for us. But
especially
I
with
just want people to know this is our first time, and it's just normal that we're going to practice, and we hope that we get much better. And I just think it's going to be a good thing, and we just want y'all to spread the word and spread the love.
yes, and I want you to come on the show if you have anything strange, weird, you seen anything, you experienced anything, or you want to talk about a conspiracy theory. It doesn't matter.
There you
You're
go. Right.
you're welcome on.
Yeah, anyone that has any encounters and they want to share with them, just get with us over our social media, which we're going to establish. And
Well, we'll have a page
and,
on
and
Facebook.
yeah,
I think Elise is working on that. I'm
right.
holding her up though with the picture. So
Yes, yes. My granddaughter is my tech person, so I'm waiting for her to come over here and help her old man.
well, I'm my tech person, so it's
Well,
just
you're
me.
really good at it, though, Lisa. You're really good at it. You are very good at tech.
Well,
I
we
am
got
what I call I am tech impaired, is what I am.
well, I have a page up called cryptidsunlimitedpodcast.com. We will have a Facebook page, Cryptids Unlimited, and the email address to notify is at cryptidsunlimited@gmail.com. So
Sounds
anybody
good to me.
sounds good to me too. I'm hoping
Y'all
to come
come see us. Tell us about your encounters because we want to have you guys on to tell about your own experiences. So,
absolutely
y'all come on and talk to us about it and tell us about it. We want to hear all about it. And I promise you, this is a safe place. You have my word on that.
no judgment here.
No judgment on anything because you know what? We're just here to listen. No judgment on anything.
And we know very little, and when we think we know something, usually more questions pop up than answers, so we know nothing. Every time we think we know
And
something,
that's a
we know
good
nothing.
thing, though, because and that's a good thing because the minute you start thinking that you know everything is when you've really screwed up.
Yeah, and your mind is
So
closed.
it takes exactly your mind is closed off, and you've really made a major mistake because you have to be open minded in this journey. You have to be open minded, and I know I have came so far from when I first started. My thoughts on a lot of things about it, and I've just changed a whole bunch. And like I said, tomorrow I may wake up and be back to square one again. Who knows? But it just takes an open mind. So we're just here for open minded people and like minded people as well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Is there anything else we want to say
So y'all
before
come
we
see us and bring your friends. Share, share, share.
absolutely come get it off your chest? People that'll actually listen to you. All
Absolutely.
right. And I will talk to you later, Elise.
Okay, girlie, high five.
High five.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.